Not that I'm okay.
Ready?
Yep.
All right, the time is 6:30. I call this meeting to order. Um, let's see, we'll do a roll call.
Yep. Chair Lang,
Present.
Member Bechtel,
Present.
Member Canor,
Here.
Alder Madden,
Here.
and Alder Myers.
Here. All right, first thing on our agenda is the minutes from last month. Does anybody have any edits or comments on last month or last meeting's minutes? Not hearing any, so I will approve those minutes as they were. No changes. Next thing on our agenda is the Public Works staff report.
Yeah, I just staff put this kind of an update to the committee kind of on the various activities that the divisions of Public Works are working on. So you'll see in your packet the actual staff report. Engineering provided updates on the construction projects that they're working on, as well as some few other upgrades that are going on throughout the city. Public Works staff on a few of the maintenance projects that they're working on. The water utility and stormwater utility were included as well. So I'm happy to answer any questions, but this was more of an FYI for the committee and the public. With the hope is that we'll provide these updates on a monthly basis. So happy to answer any questions, but just some information only.
This is really helpful to see kind of how everything's laid out. So thank you for putting this together. It's nice to like feel up to date on what's going on.
Yeah.
I had a question just about the underwater utility. It says meter replacement. I'm just curious how many, if you know, like old brass residential meters are currently or like still in use in Middleton, and what the speed is at like replacing those, or is that more of if a homeowner or property owner says, hey, we have an old brass meter, can we get this replaced?
I do not know off the top of my head. Looking to see if Sean or Luke have any idea. Luke's shaking his head. Sean, do you happen to know?
Well, I'm taking a little bit of a stab because that's actually the water department, which I don't do a lot with, but I know they do have a database of all of the different meters that are on all the households. They schedule a set amount per week for a replacement. And that just allows them to continue to do the day-to-day operations. So I can't give you a number, but I can tell you that they do know how many are in there and that they have a set amount that they replace. So Mike would probably be able to give a number of how many there are and how long it'll take to replace all of them.
Sean, isn't this an upgrade installation?
Yes. Yep.
Not from the original cranking meters, but this is an upgrade of the newer ones because of the change technology, if I remember right.
Yes. Yes.
Oh.
I believe you're correct. Yep.
And we can get clarification from Mike, the water utility manager, for the next meeting.
All right. Next item on our agenda is consideration, discussion, possible action on the road surface treatments project award of bid 25-103.
Yeah, so we have Sean Walsrud, our engineering technician, who is managing this project. So, Sean, do you want me to give an overview, or do you want to?
Sure. I can give a quick overview. So we put out bids for the surface treatment that we do every year. That includes crack filling, chip sealing, and then our GSB 88 on the new roads. That bid came in at 249,000 and change. I'm sorry, I don't have the number in front of me.
Nice.
So that's under our capital budget amount. So we will then do additional, probably crack filling on some of the newer roads to utilize the remainder of that money. A portion of that balance does get used by the street department to purchase asphalt because they go in and do spot repairs on the roads that we're chip sealing. So I would estimate probably 25,000, 20 to 25,000 we would be spending on wedging and basically repairing roads before we chip seal them.
Sean, do you want to talk briefly on kind of the purpose behind crack filling and chip sealing? What the goal is behind it?
Sure. I think a couple of you have been in the council long enough to remember back in the mid-teens when we were trying to do more roads, and as we then increased that budget amount, that capital borrowing to $2 million, we're now able to start to get caught up on roads that need to be resurfaced. Equally as important is the maintenance of those roads. So if you have a road that you resurface and then you didn't do anything to, that road is going to last, the estimates are 15 to 20 years. If you do this type of maintenance, it's a small investment, and we would realistically be pushing 30 years on those. So it's an important thing that we do. It's an important thing that we keep up. And every year as we get more and more roads that we've resurfaced, we are going to invest a little bit more money in this maintenance treatment. I think everybody's seen a new road. It looks very black and it's very smooth. And after a few years, it looks more gray. You can see the stones in. Those are all of the fine materials have been worn out. And what we're doing with a chip seal is protecting those fines from disappearing, because then you start to lose more of the aggregate. The crack filling is to keep the base. If you have a crack in a road, you'll go down about 150 feet. There'll be another crack in the spring as cars drive over those. You get kind of this pumping action, and it pumps the fines out of the base. And we've all driven down those roads as but up, because it kind of collapses in. So crack filling is very important for us to be doing. And then the GSB is something that we do to new roads. It's a water and sun protectant and has done very, very well for us over the years. So the street surface maintenance program is probably one of our most important maintenance programs that we have as far as the investment that we make initially in making the best return on that.
Thanks, Sean.
Okay. So they're asking for a recommendation here to award a construction contract.
Correct. Yeah, recommend to the finance and council to award the construction contract.
Okay.
Sean, and Ben, this is for both of you. Have you had previous experiences with Farner asphalt sealers? And have you found their communication with people in the neighborhoods where they're working to be acceptable?
Sure. Yes, we have. We've worked with Farner for probably since the 70s or 80s. So we've got a very long. There's only two companies in the area, Scott Construction and Farner, that do this type of work. So it's a little bit more of a niche business. So those two are always competing against each other. But Farner does a very good job of communicating. They do a very good job of keeping traffic flowing. So I have no reservations or concerns with Farner coming in. We do have a new regional manager with Farner. The previous gentleman had retired last year. We now have Joe Bass, but Joe seems to be as on top of everything as the previous regional manager.
I've worked with Farner in a previous community as well, and yeah, no concerns in terms of their ability to do the work and communicate with residents. I know when your neighborhood gets chip sealed, it can be a little bit of a inconvenience. There'll be times when you can't access, and then obviously there's all the chips themselves that can track into your driveway. But like Sean mentioned, a somewhat minor inconvenience for a long-term benefit for the roadway. So yeah, no issues with partner.
Okay, thank you.
Mary?
What is the designation? Obviously, there's like on the chart of the cost, like the unit price and the extension. Is there any chance that this project could go over what's predicted it to cost? Is that like the greatest maximum cost, or what does this extension like column mean? If you were to extend that cost or something.
Sean, Sean, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. So I'm sorry, if I'm understanding your question, we wouldn't have a chance on a cost overrun. About 7 or 8 years ago, I switched how we had previously been bidding the jobs, and what we do now is we bid it per road section. So if we did Hubbard Avenue from Parmenter to Park Street, they would go out and they would give me a bid for the crack filling, for the chip sealing, and that is the price. So we have no real concerns with something running over.
Sean, I think the question was in the bid tab table. There's the extension column. Do you know what that is for?
Yeah, I think that's part of Quest
Oh,
online bidding.
so we use when we bid out construction projects, we go through it's an online format that they use throughout the state, throughout the country. So I'm guessing this is just a column that maybe they use for different projects, but doesn't pertain to us.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I apologize. I usually take that column out in the Excel sheet, but I must have missed that this year.
Okay, thank you.
And this is purely road repair and resurfacing, right? We're not doing any curb work, driveway apron updates, so
Correct. Yeah.
pedestrian sidewalks shouldn't be affected by
Did not have any
the work
impacts.
happening. Okay, good.
I'll make a motion that we recommend to the city, or that we recommend to Finance Committee and Common Council award of construction contract to Farner Asphalt in the amount of $249,942.
Well, second, doesn't it go to legal also?
Once the contract is kind of ready to get signed, the city attorney will
Okay,
review, but
Okay.
it should be standard template.
all right. So I second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
I,
All opposed? The motion passes. All right, our next item is consideration, discussion, and possible action on the Middleton Shores City Developer Agreement. All right,
I'm up.
we're recognized.
Yeah, so this is a pretty simple one. I think the main thing on this project is about 300 something feet of water main to serve the Middleton Shores development. This water main's going basically right down the lot line, shared access. They split up this parcel into multiple different parcels for different apartment buildings. If it's serving different apartment buildings, it needs to be a public water main. So that's the main reason driving everything here. They also have, I think, a short section of path and some storm pipe, and that's about it for this development. Nothing really unusual. Everything's been reviewed by staff already and MSA. I think the only thing I would point out is that for this one and the next development we have on the agenda as well, the Approval is under a condition of comments being resolved to the satisfaction of the city engineer. None of the comments are major. They're all pretty minor. They're not going to impact any of the public improvements on these.
Anything else that we should know about?
Nothing else really major on these. If anyone had any questions on the agreements and whatnot, really, they're all pretty standard. I typically don't let developers change a whole lot in those agreements either. They're pretty boilerplate. If they were to change it, we would go to the city attorney and have him do it.
Can I ask a general question? I'm
Yeah.
a questions person today. What designates the need for a sanitary sewer and why is that not included in the Middleton Shores? Fund?
So, yeah, I guess they have they're gonna have a private sewer easement on this property.
Okay.
So the sewer going through here is not gonna be public, because you don't necessarily, there's no risk of us turning off a sewer or anything like that. Where water main, we don't want to have an impact from a break on one property impact all these other properties. The sanitary sewer here is private, going to a private lift station that the city is not going to maintain. And then that just connects back into our regular system. So just for this one in particular, there's no extension necessarily of a public sewer.
Yeah, because right now they're tearing down a building, building a larger one. The
Yes.
existing building has a sanitary system. The new building is just going to use the same.
They're going to be building a new sanitary system, but it's all going to be private.
It's all private.
So it's nothing the city has to maintain or worry about necessarily. Just making sure it's up to code, which we've done through.
That's what I was going to ask. You still do inspections, right?
Yeah, and
Do you have a
they
permit?
have plumbing reviews and all that too through building inspection.
All right. Charles?
Yeah, I'd like to that we recommend to finance and personnel and to common council the closed city developer agreement with a deferred effective date of upon completion of approval of the plan drawings for public improvements associated with this development, city engineer satisfaction with completion of any remaining and additional review comments by staff on the plan drawings, and approval of the CSM for the Middleton Shores development. And that if the above items are not completed by September 1st, 2025, then this approval is void.
Madden, I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? No. All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The motion carries. And the next item is the survey map.
Yeah.
For the same
For
development.
the same development.
Okay.
Yeah, so as I said, the CSM is really just splitting this lot into different legal descriptions, different lots. I think lot 2 is the only one currently that they are going to be doing work on. That's all we have a plan for at this point.
No, some of these documents haven't been signed yet. Is that because they haven't been fully approved?
Yeah, so some of these signatures will come after common council. Yeah.
Mary?
How are neighbors informed of like the water main being shut off when this is being worked on?
So typically we'd give them 48 hours advance. I don't think that the water main getting shut off here would actually impact anyone.
Oh, okay.
Typically we'll have, at any intersection where there's a T or there's a cross or anything like that, there'll be a valve on each end of that. So you can isolate a property like this pretty easily without impacting others.
We also have our, I'm sorry, Ben, maybe you can remember our notifier email list that we can send out to residents. So whenever we're gonna shut water off, the water department will put a little blurb out saying these residents will be affected. So as long as people are on the mailing list, they'll get that notification.
Yeah, the city uses, it's called Civic Plus. So it can both send you a text message or an email. It's how we can share meeting agendas, but right, if there's urgent things like a potential water main outage, residents can sign up for that via our city website.
Charles?
I will move that we recommend that the Common Council approve the CSM for this development with a deferred effective date of approval upon completion of approval of the city developer agreement for the public improvements and receipt of surety and fees to provide for construction of the public improvements, approval of the plan drawings for public improvements associated with this development, city engineer satisfaction with the completion of any remaining and additional review comments by staff on the plan drawings, and that if the above items are not completed by September 1st, 2025, then the approval is void.
And no second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll take it to a vote. All those in favor of passing the motion, please signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. And the next agenda item is similar consideration, discussion, possible action on the site plan.
Yeah, so I don't have much to add here. Pretty much everything we've been talking about, but it's a little easier to visualize where the water main is. The path is going to be in the lower left-hand corner. The water main's on the right side of this development. You want to scroll down to the next page? This one? Yeah, maybe one more. I guess that gives us a little bit of idea. So basically right in the middle of the screen, I guess. So this is showing all of the parcels. That's where the water main is going to go. Right now it's showing storm sewer, but it follows pretty closely where that is.
Will work on the water main impact the path at all?
It will for a short period of time, but again, it'll be done concurrently with the work on the site. So they're going to have to dig up the path there anyways for their driveway. It shouldn't be an extended outage or anything like that.
I have like a general question about these types of plants. I noticed there's kind of right now there's 4 buildings, 4 or 5 with a large green space in the middle.
Yep.
And they're proposing to remove a lot of that to build like the parking area in the building around it. I know Dane County cares a lot about turning green space into non-permeable pavement areas.
Yeah.
Do we as a city
Yes.
have any influence on?
So yeah, I guess as a general point, that central area is going to be a stormwater management facility. When you're putting these plans together, typically they're looked at as the entire build out together to make sure that they're meeting stormwater management requirements as a whole, which would be the green space requirements, any permeable areas, impervious areas. But then we also just look at the site itself to make sure that in the intermediate phases, they're also meeting all the standards. Essentially, they pulled this whole plan together, so then when they build the next buildings, they pull a stormwater management plan together and say, okay, we're following the approved one from phase one. They don't have to do as much work on the back end. We have assurances that it's going to work. So
We'll go through water resources also.
okay. Yeah, water resources sees all the stormwater. Anything that's variance, anything like that, they would go through them.
And Luke, are you generally satisfied with how this is shaping up?
Yes, yeah, we got MSA did most of the review for this one as well, especially from a stormwater standpoint. And they're satisfied enough that they would recommend approval of the stormwater plan. And again, we did not have any other major comments on here either. There was just some minor clerical things that we're waiting for.
Okay. So we're asking for a recommendation again. Does anybody want to make a motion?
This is a recommendation. I don't believe so.
No.
Yeah, this is approval. All right, I'll move approval of the public improvements for this development with the deferred effective date of approval upon completion of approval of the city developer agreement for public improvements and receipt of surety and fees to cover or to provide for construction of the public improvements. City engineer satisfaction with completion of any remaining items, any remaining and additional review comments by staff on plan drawings, and approval of the CSM for the Middleton Shores development. And if the above items are not completed by September 1st, 2025, then the approval is void.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All right, we'll take it to a vote. All those in favor of passing the motion, please signify by saying aye.
I,
All opposed? Motion passes. Next item is consideration, discussion, and possible action on the Conservancy Bend Residences Phase 2 City Developer Agreement.
Yeah, so again, this is going to be really similar to the previous one. Here, I believe the only public improvements are water main and sanitary sewer. Both of these will be, at least the water main, I can't remember offhand if sanitary is public through the development, but at least water main through the development is public. We will have an easement for access. I believe there's still a couple minor outstanding comments to be addressed as well.
Okay.
Nothing that will impact the public improvements themselves.
Mary?
So had my eye on the word sewer today, and this one said televised sanitary sewers during construction. So I was curious what that meant. And also, since we've been talking about private sewer versus public sewer, do you mind just describing kind of the pros and cons from the city's perspective on why that would be something that would be approved or something that people might have hesitations about?
Yeah, so I guess just for this one in particular, do you want to pull up the plan drawings just so I can make sure I'm not referring to anything correctly? Generally, there's kind of a give and take between the city wanting to be able to control and maintain infrastructure versus us not having to control and maintain it. So like Middleton Shores, for example, they were putting in a lift station because the grades wouldn't work to actually gravity drain their sewers. The city doesn't necessarily want to get in the practice of maintaining all these little sanitary lift stations around the city. So that is when we would try to make those private, if at all possible. This doesn't have anything of that sort. It is still serving multiple lots. Yeah, can you zoom in a little bit just so I can? Yeah, I guess offhand, I don't think that there is a sanitary sewer right through there. Okay. So yeah, the sanitary, it's serving all those townhomes and condos there, as well as the other building. There's no lift station or anything, and it's right along where the water main is going to go as well. So it makes sense for that to be a city-owned facility. And then we'll have an easement so we can access it if there's a break or any sort of maintenance that needs to be done. All the standards are pretty much the same though.
And when you asked about televising
Yeah.
the sanitary sewer, so that literally they have a kind of like a little robot camera that you put into the pipe, drive it along, pull it along, so you can visually inspect the sewer once it's been installed and then under the ground. So maintenance staff uses it. After construction, we will use a camera to visually inspect sewers if we're looking for a leak or a break.
Revolving as well. You don't want a low spot in the sanitary where stuff's going to. So
Okay.
making sure that those grades work as well.
So that televised or inspecting via robot is for the public sewer stuff. That wouldn't be for the private sewer development.
Right. If they're responsible for maintaining it, they could have a company come and televise it as well.
Okay. Thanks.
I have a question. And this came up last year, I think, when we were reviewing like something from Bruce Company. And I never quite understood it then, and I still don't, like this fee in lieu of like park space or something like that. Both of these developments have a dollar amount.
Yeah, so that's, I guess the best way to explain it is if you're looking at this site, there's nowhere that they could carve out for a park, right? But if you have a larger development, it's building single family homes and streets, they could carve out and dedicate part of that land as parkland to the city. So then the city would become an owner of that lot and we'd make it into a park. The fee in lieu is essentially for us to, I don't know if necessarily for us to maintain our current parks or build new parks. That's more of a planning question, but that's the intent of it.
So like if there was I was kind of curious where that money goes, like if it goes to operating budget for Parks and Rec, or if it goes to expand.
I suspect it goes to a separate fund, park fee fund that they can use. I know in other communities, they'll use that money to purchase parkland. Right, so I know City of Madison uses that money. They call it impact fees to purchase parkland or to build parks and things like that. So I don't think it goes directly to the operating. I think it's in a separate fund, but I can certainly double check that with our park staff.
I'm almost certain it's how our stormwater and lieu fees work, where they kind of go into a separate pot of money for us to use for improvements to the.
That might have been what was last year's discussion was this still.
Yeah, they're kind of the same concept.
Thank you.
I actually looked that up prior to coming in because I was also curious about it, and it does seem like it's a kind of a goodwill based program that is something that is implemented on different degrees depending on which municipality you live in. So I don't know if there's a standard or what the standard would be for Middleton, but it seems like it would come up in almost every development, like whether there's a parkland designation or a fee in lieu of that. But it's definitely interesting, and as so much development is happening, it's nice to know that there's something tabbed for that.
Yeah.
But I don't know what would be preferred, obviously. If you don't have space, there's a fee, but it'd be nice to also have the green space.
Yeah, I mean, I would just hope that the money would go towards the public use of maybe building a new playground nearby, because they are taking some green space away. Go ahead.
We're getting pretty far afield from the actual city developer agreement that we noticed on the agenda. So perhaps a policy discussion of this at a future meeting might be the appropriate way to deal with this conversation.
Okay, noted. Thank you.
One other question that I had, is the warranty and whether a 1-year warranty against construction or materials is standard for all projects in the city.
Would anyone like to make a motion?
Sure, I'll make that motion to recommend to Finance and Personnel and Common Council to approve the Conservancy Bend Residences developer agreement. The deferred effective date approval upon completion of the approval of the plan drawings for public improvements associated with this development, city engineer satisfaction with completion of any remaining and additional review comments, and approval of the CSM for the Conservancy Bend Phase 2 development, and that if the above items are not completed by September 1st of 2025, the approval is void.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor of passing the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Next up is number 8. Consideration, discussion, possible action on the Conservancy Bend Residence Phase 2 CSM.
Yeah, I guess I don't really have much else to add here. All the easements are shown properly. Staff doesn't have any further comments.
Would anybody like to make a motion?
I can make a motion to approve. Should I read the whole thing?
Do you want to note it as it's recorded in the agenda?
Yeah, that's fine.
As a motion?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll second that. So we have a motion and second. Is there any discussion? All right, we'll move on to the vote. All those in favor of passing the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to item number 9. Consideration, discussion, and possible action on the Conservancy Bend Residences Phase 2 site plan.
Yeah, there's a couple comments remaining, nothing significant to the public improvements. I think the Parks Department wants to see a fence on the northern property boundary to delineate between private property and the Conservancy. I believe that's one of the comments that's still being worked out. That's mainly between Parks and the developer at this point. I think there's one sheet or something like that where there's some discrepancy in the plan. We don't allow electric to go through our water main easement. We don't want any conductivity there. On one sheet, they're still showing it. That's the only other comment I think that's of note.
Okay, so anybody like to make a motion?
This is Madden. I move we approve the Phase 2 site plan. Recommend to, no, I don't need to recommend this one, sorry. Oh, with the deferred effective date upon approval, upon completion of the approval of the city developer agreement for public improvements, receipt of surety and fees to provide for construction of public agreements, city engineer satisfaction with completion of any remaining and additional review comments by staff on the plan drawings, and approval of the CSM for the Conservancy Bend Phase 2 development. And if they're not completed by September 1st of 2025, then that approval is void.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move on to the vote. All those in favor of passing the motion?
Sorry, I hate to interrupt, guys. You referenced, this is Taylor for the developer. You guys referenced the September 1st, 2025 in the motion. And I'm sorry to do this, but I don't believe, does that apply to this development? Because we haven't started construction yet?
This is
Or is
just
that carryover from Middleton Shores?
So this is just approval of these items. It's not, construction does not have to be complete by September 1st.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you. Sorry, guys. Sorry to interrupt.
So we'll move on to the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. And there's some things on the end of the meeting agenda that I didn't catch, so we reached the end of our agenda and I will adjourn the meeting.
We'll have those things